We're here with Mike Minegar of the Rocky Mountain Challenge Series. Mike, going into the 7th year of the series, what are your thoughts going into this year?
Feels like 12 years. No, I'm just kidding. You can edit that out. We're really excited about the 7th year. I can't believe it's been 7 seasons already. It seems like we just started this when you and I sat at a table about 8 years ago and kind of came up with the concept of what we wanted to do. But no, I'm really excited about this season. Even with the economy down a little bit, I think we're going to be good.
What do you take away from the success that the series has had over the years? What makes it unique and special compared to the other late model touring series out there in the country?
Well, I think there's several things. I don't think, I don't want to look at it like we think we're head and shoulders above everybody else, because we're not. Everybody has a different idea about how to do things. I think what I was able to do was take a long career in motorsports and condense it and pick the good up of what I had learned through all these years of being involved and been able to compile it and make it into something successful. We don't take ourselves too seriously, Derek, and you know that. We're there to have a good time. I want the racers to have a great time. You do that with a thin rule book so that you can include everybody, and you do it with a lot of compassion.
What makes the Rocky Mountain Challenge Series unique?
Well, I think the big thing is a 20-car invert. That seems to be the biggest thing that the outsiders look at and think it can't work. And it's worked tremendously for us. It's made it a thing that's pretty easy to sell to the promoters, because it's not what I call hero racing. And you take a guy, you give him points and money for qualifying, you put him at the back, and it makes better race car drivers out of him. It makes it easier to sell a ticket to the fan, as far as I'm concerned, because they're going to see cars passing cars everywhere, whether it be in 20th and 19th at the start of the race, there's good racing, all the way back to the guys that are coming to the front. So that's probably the most unique part of this.
The 7th year, we're at all the same locations we were last year. Talk a little bit about the different racetracks on the series this year and what unique twists might be in store for fans and competitors.
Well, I think the biggest story is going to be a new surface at Meridian Speedway. I mean, my boy started his career there in '98, and now we're going back to something that nobody has any idea about. Some banking put in, some parabolic banking, so it should be good two-groove racing. But honestly, Derek, it's in theory. Nobody knows yet, so that's the big unknown. Of course, Magic Valley always provides good racing. The unknowns there is whether Eddie's going to coke syrup the track or not. So that's always an unknown, because we don't know. So it gives you something different there to deal with all the time. Rocky Mountain's just a plain great racetrack. I mean, it races the same every time we're there, side-by-side racing. Plenty of room for mistakes. That's what I like about it is, you've got some room to race, and you can make a mistake and you're not going to gather your car up in the wall. So, and then State Line, what a great little quarter-mile bull ring that's turned out to be. Super good. I feel so fortunate, Derek, that all of our racetracks, they're not one-groove racetracks. We get to see performing the cars the way they should be, and so I'm really excited.
We've got a few new sponsors on board this year. Talk a little bit about the help that has come in from the corporate world to help the series continue to grow over the years.
Well, CarbonX is back, and that's a big thing for us, because this will be our 3rd year that we've had an association with each other. So we both have been successful with each other. CarbonX is a great company, and it's growing like crazy. Even in this down economy, these guys have been able to make their market work, and so they're back at a much better rate than they were the year before. So some of our programs, Derek, like our lap leader money, we're going to be able to get back into and make some guys some more money next year.
You got a new sponsor in Century Boatland coming on board this year.
Yeah, the Gomez family have been great. John and Jonathan and the whole family, the whole group has just been so supportive of the series. I hope we see Jonathan at some point. We see him on Sundays in the Cup Series. That would be awesome. But, they're a family that has been fortunate with their earnings, and they see something they like. They're really willing and able to jump in and help. And I can't thank them enough for what they're going to do for us this year. It's going to help a lot.
A 10-race schedule this year. We've had fewer races in the past. We've had more races in the past. 10 races seems to be about what everybody in the series wants. What's your view on the schedule?
I'm real happy with the schedule. I was worried about getting back to 10 races, but I also wasn't scared, Derek, if it dropped to 8, to be honest with you. In this economy, with what we're faced with as a country, everybody still wants to do the program. But it costs money to race, and we don't pay out well enough that it's going to pay for racing. So I have learned in the last 3 or 4 years, less is better. It's better for the fans buying the ticket. It's better for the families that are supporting the racing. It's better on everything. So 10 is about where we want to be. You always worry about the rainouts, Derek. Weather plays a big part in our schedule, and hopefully we don't lose any. But if we lose one, 9's still okay. So what I appreciate is the sponsors used to kind of dictate, Derek, what the schedule needed to be. It's not that way anymore. They understand that less is better the same way I understand it. So it's good.
What are the top 2 or 3 things that you're looking forward to out of this season?
Well, I think we're going to have a new champion, number one. The guys that have been running up front, some of them are going to a lesser schedule. Some of them can't make all the events. Dave Minegar's won the championship twice. He's going to be back full time. Last year he crashed the car and took a half a year off. Zan Sharp, I'm not sure, is going to run every race. So what we're seeing, Derek, is we're seeing some new blood come in. We're seeing some of the old guard kind of go back out and maybe reevaluate and not run 10 races. So I'm looking for a new guy at the front and some new guys running up front, which I think is going to be healthy for the series. I'm a little weird that way. You need the guys that commit and are at every show, but you don't need that same group running to the front every week. You need new blood to come in and kind of cleanse things, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
You've got a few new faces going to join the series this year. Talk a little bit about the field.
Well, Derek, I'm really excited about having Brett Thompson come full time. I mean, he's been one of the guys out there that races out of the Jerome Twin Falls area that I would have liked to have had 7 years ago when we started. But he's gone out, he's done his thing, and is going to continue to do his thing. But it's really fun to have a guy come that brings an added element to the series. Brett has great equipment. He's bringing with him 2 new racers in Kenny Vanderham and John Wong. This will be John's first year that he's going to run a whole schedule. So that's big for the series. They're going to have 3 cars running out of that shop. Lynn Hardy is going to be a great addition. Lynn runs hard in Salt Lake. The first year that we had the RMCS, he ran a full schedule, and he enjoyed it, but his program is it has to have a good sponsor and somebody owns a good car. So he's coming back on board full time. So we've got like 6 new guys, and that presents, it presents a new element, which sometimes can be a little bit difficult to get these guys broke in right, but we've got the staff to do it, so we'll do it.
So if you can sum up your excitement for this year in just a few words, what would it be?
What would it be? I'm going to say, Derek, that at the end of last year I was really concerned about 2010. I'm not going to lie about it. We saw some decline in car numbers towards the end of last year. That hurt, and it made me worry. As the winter has progressed, things have gotten a lot better in my mind. The sponsor dollars have come through, which I was really worried about. The race cars have come through, which I was really worried about. So I'm just happy that everything looks good. Racers are a funny breed, Derek. You've been around this a long time. They'll figure out a way to race. And every year at the end of the year I go, oh gosh, and I worry. I go into worry mode. And I think that's necessary to keep me on my toes. But I'm really excited because it looks great.